Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the From the Booth podcast. My name is Mike, and in today's episode, we're going to recap a pretty good week of NFL news. We had the GOAT retire, we had a coach traded for multiple picks, we had Aaron Rodgers rumors. When do we don't have Aaron Rodgers rumors? And just a lot of other stuff to get into. We're also going to talk about the Pro Bowl today. But guys, kind of before we get into that, I will encourage you guys, if you haven't already, to go ahead and follow the podcast or subscribe, depending on which platform you're on. I'm going to be, again, making at least 2 podcast episodes a week. I've been very consistent this week on my posting schedule, so if you guys check out my YouTube, you guys will see all those videos. And then, of course, the podcasts come out on Friday and Tuesday. So today's Friday. You guys are getting a podcast episode for today. All right, guys. So now, I guess, getting into it. Obviously, Tom Brady's retired, right? And you guys know this at this point. It's old news by NFL standards. And as I said in my video, Tom Brady's been in the NFL my whole life. He's been quarterbacking my whole life, and I don't know what an NFL looks like without him. So I'll get to see that next year, which is pretty exciting. Um, but a few things that I forgot to mention in my video that I made, that I'm going to mention now, which is funny. I actually had them written down. I just didn't get to them, which is great. Love that. Um, that obviously Brady's retiring. His new movie is coming out. It's called 80 for Brady. It follows like these old ladies that I guess want to go see Tom Brady play in the Super Bowl. Um, can't say I'm going to go see it. Tom Brady actually tweeted that because I'm retired, I can go see 80 for Brady 4 times. I'm gonna be honest, homie. You're probably the only one that's gonna see that movie. The only draw to that movie for me would be the fact that Aunt May's in it. Sally Field, that's my girl. Other than that, we're getting a few cameos from Gronk. Um, I don't really know. I don't really want to. I don't really feel the need to watch a movie of a guy's career or of the story of these ladies. It just to me it's not a movie that I'm wanting to pay money to go see. Definitely not one my girlfriend would want to see. So that pretty much seals the deal on that. Um, However, I will probably say something about it next week if the reviews are in or if the movie bombs, just to laugh at it, because deep down I still have a hatred for Tom Brady that truly will not extinguish until probably I'm an adult with multiple children myself. So there's that. The bigger piece of news, though, is that Tom Brady, if you guys remember, signed the deal with Fox for when he retired. So that means that Tom Brady next year will be in the Fox media team, um, which is pretty perfect for Fox that they lose Sean Payton and then they gain Tom Brady. So good for them. My only question at this point is that a broadcasting deal? Is it a media deal? Because Sean Payton wasn't calling games; he was just kind of media. He was doing the breakdown stuff. He was on Colin Cowherd's show once a week. So is that what Brady's going to be doing, or is Brady going to be more like a Tony Romo, where Tony Romo kind of immediately stepped in and was calling games? And let me tell you guys, remember a few years ago when Tony Romo was, it seemed like calling everybody's play. He knew what this receiver was going to do. You remember in the Chiefs and Patriots AFC Championship game, he was calling this, like it was insane. If you think Tony Romo was doing that, what the hell do you think Tom Brady's about to do? Like seriously, what do you think Brady's about to do? Brady's football mind is so beyond advanced of pretty much anybody's we've ever known. He could probably give a whole team's playbook, a whole team's call sheet, a whole team's script off the dome. Um, so I would like to see Brady in the booth. I'll be honest. I would really like to see Brady in the booth. Um, and you know what would be, to me would be a perfect pairing, would be a perfect broadcasting pairing. Tom Brady and Gus Johnson. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, because you get the excitement and the vocal talent of Gus Johnson calling these huge highlights, and then you get Brady, who can break it down, the fundamentals, who can break down every aspect of the play better than anybody else. That would be the perfect broadcasting team. Fox, you need to bring this to us. This needs to happen. Gus Johnson, I don't understand why he doesn't get big NFL games anymore. I know he's more in the college football world now. I don't understand why Gus Johnson doesn't get more hype and appreciation. He's the best. I love him. Gus Johnson and Tom Brady, I need it for the Super Bowl. Fox, are you listening? All right. Speaking of Fox, as I said previously, our next topic of discussion today is Sean Payton. Sean Payton, who this week was traded for multiple picks to go to the Broncos. But again, you guys know that. So I'm going to talk about kind of more what I think is going to happen with the Broncos and Sean Payton. Here's what I'll say with Sean Payton. Sean Payton is a winner, and Sean Payton knows how to handle a locker room. And those are two things that Nathaniel Hackett weren't or didn't know how to do in Denver, and that's the reason that he was fired on Christmas Day, right? Um, Sean Payton, let's look at his kind of resume with the Saints quarterbacks. Drew Brees, Super Bowl MVP, broke passing records, had some of the best offenses in league history. Okay, cool. Teddy Bridgewater went 5-1 with. Jameis Winston, he went 5-1 with. Taysom Hill, he went 7-2 with. You can't tell me Drew Brees aside for a second, you can't tell me that Russell Wilson isn't a better quarterback than all those guys on that list. And Sean Payton is a combined, let me do some quick math here. 17-4 with those three guys. He's 17-4. That's larger of a sample size than just a few games. Maybe you go 2-0, 3-0. Okay, that's nothing. That's what Cooper Rush did this year for the Cowboys, right? He went like 4-1 or something like that. Over 20 games, that's a good enough sample size to know that you are a good coach and that you can coach well with subpar quarterback play. Now, maybe you guys want to say, "Oh, well, the Saints had that good defense." Broncos have a good defense. What did the Saints have that the Broncos don't? So, I think if I'm a Broncos fan, very, very excited for Sean Payton. Very, very excited for Sean Payton. Now, I will say, the Broncos have given up a lot of assets for a quarterback who, up until this point, hasn't worked out, and a coach. It could blow up in their face once again. If I was Broncos management, like the GM, John Elway, all those guys, I wouldn't have done this out of fear because you swung for the fences last year with Russ, you struck out. These big risks would scare me. However, I don't think it's a bad move. I just think that the circumstances of the Russell Wilson trade make it harder for me to would have made it harder for me to pull the trigger, if that makes sense. But Sean Payton, he's going to go coach the Broncos. Excuse me, did coach the Saints. Now he's going to coach the Broncos. And I think that if I'm a Broncos fan, again, I'm very excited. If I'm Russell Wilson, I'm very excited. If I'm Patrick Surtain, if I'm any of those studs on the defense, I'm very excited. So you saw like the Broncos players tweeting about it this week. There was a report that came out that Russell Wilson was like banging on the table for Sean Payton, which is great. So we'll see how that goes, I guess. Next, I do want to talk about the Pro Bowl. Now, before I kind of get into this year's Pro Bowl, I want to talk about the Pro Bowl, the problem of the Pro Bowl. The NFL has had a problem with the Pro Bowl for a very long time. We know it as the fans. They know it as the head league members, the guys in the office. They know it. There's a problem with the Pro Bowl, and so for the Pro Bowl, you kind of have a few options. They could, like they did this year, buy into the skills showdown, the mini games, the dodgeball, all of that, and then play flag football. They could go back to what they were doing and full padded, full hit, Sean Taylor-esque, Pro Bowl in Hawaii. But that caused a lot of problems because when they do that, players have contracts coming up. They have contracts to play for. They're not trying to get hit, and they're not trying to risk their bodies in an all-star game for fun. That means nothing to them, Obviously, the MVP, I think it's a financial bonus, but that's nothing compared to what these guys really are making. So there's no incentive to try hard in the Pro Bowl. So why would players risk their bodies? Is what I'm basically saying. And I think in a contact sport like football, an all-star game is going to be very difficult to pull. So going back to what they've been doing this year and what they were fully bought into, the skills showdown and the flag football game. I think that this is basically the best case scenario. I think that There's really no other way to do it to where the players would try their best and you can get an entertaining product. Um, I think the little skill showdowns are good, but I think that we need to get new ones because I'm sick of the passing one, right? I thought the mini golf one was good, and I do think it's always entertaining to watch the players play dodgeball with each other. It just has kind of like it has really like a high school vibe to it, like all the jocks in high school kind of assembled. So that I really like, but the precision passing, like we need to get something new. I think if you want to do like a passing one for the quarterbacks, which obviously they will, I think a good one to do would just be to, like get a field and put dummies like all over the field or whatever, and then maybe like you have the quarterbacks hit the dummies like they take their dropbacks, or maybe you can have them roll out and I don't know, but I'm getting sick of precision passing. Um, Dodgeball's good. The golf one was really good that they added this year. It was really entertaining to watch these professional NFL athletes absolutely whiff on these drives. Which if you've ever gone to Top Golf, you know how that feels. I actually a few times ago, I have a friend that works at Top Golf, so I go there quite often. But over the summer, I went to Top Golf, swung, club slipped out of my hand, hit the ceiling, and landed in the bay next to us with the family just trying to golf. So I almost killed the family at Top Golf. Obviously, that's not ideal. So I related very much to this week's events in that. And then obviously we still have the flag football game. And we'll see how that goes. I hope it's an actual game, an actual flag football game, and not just players goofing off and all that. I like to see real competition. Call me old school, but I do like my Pro Bowls to be legit. Um, and one other thing I will mention about the Pro Bowls that I think is the best thing about the Pro Bowls this year specifically is that the Manning brothers are the coaches. Payton for the AFC, Eli for the NFC. I don't know why this wasn't done sooner. Payton has been retired since 2015. Eli's been retired since 2017, 2018. So they've both been retired for multiple years. I don't know why it was just now brought up, the fact that they should be the Pro Bowl captains. They're the perfect choice for Pro Bowl captains. They're perfect. They're both likable. They're brothers, so they have that little built-in kind of rivalry with each other. Payton spent his whole career in the AFC. Eli's whole career in the NFC. It worked perfectly. Um, so I think that they're the perfect coaches, and they are great. And the commercials that they did leading up to it were great. So Peyton and Eli, I'm not going to give everything the Pro Bowl does a 10 out of 10, but in terms of captain selection this year, 10 out of 10. Chef's kiss for the Pro Bowl on Peyton and Eli. Um, Quick little sidebar. I did have this thought before I started to record. Mark my words. 5 to 6 years after they're retired, Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey will be Pro Bowl captains against each other. It makes sense. You know it. It's gonna happen. Um, but yeah, so going forward for the Pro Bowl for next year and for the years beyond, I mean, I guess we have to see how the flag football game goes. Um, but man, it's just so hard to get the Pro Bowl right. I feel like um, because you got to understand from the entertainment perspective, you got to understand from the players' perspective, and in terms of an all-star game, those two things, it's really hard to mesh them well. It's really hard to get on the same page with that. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. All right, and so for our next piece of news for discussion on this podcast episode today, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Um, Aaron Rodgers, let's be real, there's a lot of trade rumors going around. And there were last year as well, but I think this year, I think they have a little more merit to them. So let's start with a few things. A, Jordan Love. The Packers very, very rarely played Jordan Love last year. And I thought it would have been smart to play Jordan Love a little bit to see what you got. Maybe do you pick up his fifth-year option? Maybe you don't. You know, if he's good, he's good. You start him. If he sucks, okay, cool, whatever. We wasted a pick. But now they don't know, and they're gonna go into the year, maybe with Jordan Love, who they don't know if he's good or not. They don't know, what kind of his skill range is. Um, and now they didn't pick up his fifth year. I'm guessing they're not going to pick up his fifth-year option. So who knows, contractually speaking, where that goes, right? Aaron Rodgers, especially with the Brady retirement, his services are in high demand. I would say that the 49ers, the Jets are the two teams that make the most sense. The 49ers, which we'll touch on in a second. So put a pin in the 49ers just for 1 second. I would say the most likely team is the Jets. And the reason I say that is because Jets owner Woody Johnson came out this week and said that they will, quote, go all in for Aaron Rodgers, which to me would mean at the very least trading the 13th overall pick to Green Bay. Um, Again, it's not out of the question that Green Bay takes a quarterback with 13, depending on how much they like Jordan Love. So I think Aaron Rodgers, he's always felt too big for Green Bay, in my opinion. I'm from the Midwest. I've been to Wisconsin. Um, Green Bay is not a glitz and glamour town. It's a cheese town. It's a drink beer town. They got the Dells up there in Wisconsin, but Wisconsin always felt a little too small for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, you got to think, California guy, grew up a 49ers fan. Um, so San Francisco being on the West Coast, all of that glitz and glam and all the media, and then New York, obviously with the Jets, all that media attention, national brand. To me, those two teams make sense for Aaron Rodgers. Um, so Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. I think it makes sense for the Jets for multiple reasons. A, they need a quarterback. Zach Wilson, Mike White, and Joe Flacco don't exactly strike fear into many. They don't prevent many defensive coordinators from losing sleep the night before game day. Um, a, uh, A, B. It seems as if Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson have a bit of a friendship. So if you don't want to totally give up on Zach Wilson, you could have Rodgers mentor Zach Wilson for the next 2 or 3 years, potentially. C, and in my opinion, the biggest one is that Nathaniel Hackett's there. They hired Nathaniel Hackett as their offense coordinator. They're firing Mike LaFleur. Um, so Nathaniel Hackett's his guy. He had his best 2 seasons. Two of his best, probably 3 or 4 seasons of his career were with Nathaniel Hackett. Won the MVPs, and who knows? We know that's his guy. He plays golf with him. Speaking of playing golf, though, he was at a golf tournament this week, and they asked him something. Oh, you got any news for us? And he said, "I'm not going to San Fran." Now, do I take Aaron Rodgers' word as gospel truth? No, he's a liar. We all know this. Um, but I don't think San Francisco has the capital to trade for Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, they've given up a lot of picks for Trey Lance and Christian McCaffrey, so I don't know if they have the capital that they want. I also don't know if they have the cap space to pay Aaron Rodgers because they're gonna have to pay Nick Bosa, they're gonna have to pay Brandon Ayuk, they're gonna probably have to give Christian McCaffrey another contract. So they're not exactly swimming in dough right now. Um, so my most likely team would be the Jets. I do think that Aaron Rodgers will be a Jet by the end of next year, or by the beginning of next year, excuse me. And yeah, that's kind of my opinion on the matter. Speaking of the 49ers for a second, though, the 49ers, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan came out in a press conference this week and said that Jimmy Garoppolo, I think Kyle Shanahan's exact words were, "I don't see a scenario where Jimmy comes back." To me, that's pretty baffling. I don't know why you would say that again, because again, they said it last year. They're gonna roll with Trey. All right, cool. They rolled with Trey. Trey got hurt, and Jimmy came back on a backup deal. And honestly, thank God he did. He kept the 49ers alive. As obviously then he got hurt and Brock Purdy stepped in and played well, but I don't think Brock Purdy would have been ready week 2 to step in. Seventh round rookie to come in week 2. There's no way. The 49ers season would have tanked. He needed those extra weeks of to get ready, and then obviously Jimmy got hurt. Brock Purdy stepped in, then Brock Purdy got hurt. I mean, it was just crazy. So that's kind of my next point is the 49ers in Shanahan's regime have had the absolute worst luck with quarterback injuries. Jimmy's been hurt multiple times. They had to roll with Nick Mullins. They had to roll with C.J. Beathard because of injuries. Then this year they start with Trey. Trey breaks his ankle. Then they go to Jimmy. Jimmy breaks something. I think he breaks his foot. Okay, cool. Purdy goes the rest of the year. Purdy needs Tommy John surgery because of his UCL in his elbow, and they have to start bum from the street Josh Johnson in an NFC Championship game. I mean, come on. So here's what I'm saying, right? Brock Purdy. Is Brock Purdy that guy? Probably not. But is he, I think, a quality backup to a middle-of-the-road starter? Yes. Cool. Keep Brock Purdy. You want to roll with Trey Lance, who I'm guessing is going to be the guy next year. I I don't totally buy into the hype that Brock Purdy's the guy next year. I think it's Trey's job because again, you got to think of how much capital they invested. So yeah, I don't really buy into the fact that Brock Purdy is going to be the guy next year. I think it's still Trey's job to lose. However, I think Brock Purdy will definitely stick around as the backup. Now, assuming, hopefully not. I hope nobody gets hurt, but you can't as the 49ers assume that those guys won't get hurt. So why would you not want to bring back Jimmy, a guy who's been here, a guy who knows the playbook, a guy who at the very least could help train up and mentor Trey and Brock? Why would you not want to keep him around on a cheap deal to be the backup and or the third string? To completely rule out that possibility now before the Super Bowl, like less than a week after the NFC Championship game, that's wild to me. That's pretty wild. I don't know what beef Shanahan and John Lynch have with Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously, he's not good, right? Jimmy Garoppolo is not a great quarterback, and he has probably cost the 49ers some Super Bowls. But at this point, what better options do you have? I mean, like I said, you don't really got that much dough. You don't have draft capital to go get a guy. You don't have a high enough draft pick to take one of the top dogs in the draft. I mean, what are your options, in terms of backups or third strings who you have needed very much recently? So, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Jimmy. I do think, though, with the needy quarterback teams, Jimmy will fit right in. I can see Jimmy going to, maybe I don't know, because it really depends on the draft, right? I think the Colts are going to take a quarterback. I think the Texans are going to take a quarterback. Um, Maybe he goes to like the Falcons, maybe, or the Panthers. I don't know. I don't know where Jimmy goes. If I'm Jimmy, I'm doing as best I can to get back in San Francisco. Um, so yeah, that's it on Jimmy Garoppolo. Um, speaking, so we just talked about the cap number and how much dough certain teams have. And I do kind of want to interlude this and transition this into the NFL cap, the top 5 NFL cap numbers. So, kind of before I get started with this segment, I do just want to say that I will be doing a lot of offseason stuff once the Super Bowl ends and we get kicked off the offseason stuff of potential free agent signings, what each team should do, each team's dream offseason, all of that type of stuff. Um, but again, I just kind of want to give a brief number of money that the teams have, um, and how much kind of they're going to be able to go out and get guys in the offseason free agency wise. So, first, in terms of money, are the Bears with 98.6 million. And honestly, Bears need money. They don't got guys in the roster. They got a few guys. They're not paying Justin Fields yet, but they are very talent deprived at this point. There's a reason they have the first overall pick. And I said this to my friends and family who are all Bears fans. I told them that the Bears are about to have a generational offseason in one way or another. The Bears are either about to drastically improve their team with the most amount of cap space and the first overall pick, or the Bears are about to absolutely fumble this bag and just be poverty franchise for the next 5 to 10 years. Um, Ryan Poles, second year as a GM, he's a young guy. He needs to step up to the plate and he needs to get this done. The Chicago Bears organization's hands, the Chicago Bears organization's future are in his hands for the next 5 to 10 years in this offseason. So he has to get it right. He has to get the most value out of that first overall pick, whether that's trading it or whether that's taking guy number one who is a certified all-pro stud, whatever. Or you have to get them free agents and get quality guys on the roster, preferably offensive line and receiver. Now, the Bears do have some guys to re-sign, like most importantly, in my opinion, David Montgomery. But we'll see. We'll see where this goes. We'll see where the Bears go. I have learned as a de facto Bears fan to never get my hopes up for this team. But if there was ever a time, it would be now. So that's all I'm going to say. The Falcons have $56.3 million. The Falcons are in kind of a weird spot. Their division is dog shit, like actual dog shit. So with a good offseason and with a really good draft pick or two, Falcons could very easily, be the winners of this division. So we'll see where this goes. I mean, this division was dog shit with Brady. Brady just retired. The Bucks are about to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. The Panthers suck. Although I think Frank Reich will help them be a lot better. And then the Saints suck. So, Falcons fan, go, go get it, girl. You know what I'm saying? Um, Next is the Bengals with $44.5 million. This money is misleading because they got to pay T. Higgins, they got to pay Jesse Bates, and they probably have to pay Joe Burrow. So that money is pretty much down the shitter once you consider two, if not all three of those guys. I'm guessing Joe Burrow's getting his extension this offseason. They might want to wait. Not sure. But T. Higgins need to get paid. Like T. Higgins, he's gonna get his dough. And if they don't pay T. Higgins, yeesh, that's bad. So we will see what the Bengals do. We will see kind of how they allocate this money. But again, you got to pay. You got to pay your second best wide receiver. You got to pay your quarterback, and you got to pay your safety. I mean, that's how it goes. The Giants, $44.4 million, similar to the Bengals. They have a star player to pay, and that's Saquon Barkley. I'm not sure if they'll pay him or if they'll let him walk. We'll see where that goes. But the Giants, they're in a very murky spot right now. They're good, but they're not great. So do they kind of want to blow it up and get some new guys and fully believe in Brian Dable, or do they want to invest in Daniel Jones, invest in Saquon, and all that? I think Dave Gettleman will pick the latter. He'll go and choose to pay Daniel Jones. He'll pay Saquon and all that. So again, they don't really have that much money after you consider those two guys. But very, very interesting decisions for the Giants in this offseason. Patriots, $37.9 million. The Patriots, they just need guys, man. They need playmakers. Like, the Patriots are so boring. They don't have one guy that's like fun to watch. The Bears, Justin Fields is fun to watch. Justin Fields makes big plays. Justin Fields has the potential to be a superstar in this league. I mean, who do the Patriots have, right? Ramondre Stevenson, he's good. Mac Jones is okay. The receivers are meh. I don't know. They don't really have like a shutdown corner anymore after Stephon Gilmore left. They don't have an insane pass rusher. I mean, this team is just boring, man. Like, you need to get some guys. You need to get some dudes, some playmakers, some studs. Of course, Belichick, he doesn't always operate that way. He kind of makes no-name guys just make big plays, which is fine, and that works to a certain degree. But I feel like you just need to get some excitement in that stadium, man. Like, come on, Gillette's so boring right now. But again, obviously, we'll dive deeper into the cap situation and to the kind of off-season whatever going on. In later videos, I got to wait till after the Super Bowl to see what the draft order looks like. The day after the Super Bowl, we're going to go ahead and kicking off the mock drafts. I'm going to do a daily series called Mock Draft Monday. Hopefully, I'll bring on some guests, and we'll kind of spit up some mock drafts together. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for today's episode. As I said in the beginning, if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow. We should be on all podcast platforms right now: Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, every other one that you should be able to watch. So if you guys enjoyed, like I said, follow, please. This is also being posted on my YouTube channel, which I would recommend subscribing to. And that's going to do it for this episode. The next podcast episode will come out on Friday. And we will have a few YouTube videos in between then. And again, if any breaking news drops, then I'll go ahead and get a video out for you guys then. But that is going to do it from you guys. Have a great weekend. Please stay safe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.